Okay, so balik na tayo. Magre-record ba ito? Oo nga. Ganito. Okay. Ano eh, kung nakakailang minuto na eh. Kaya kaya din sa ano, kita-kita. Ayan. May inclusions na din mga exclusions from the gross estate. So pag nakita nyo na ito, ay salamat hindi siya kasama sa computation. Net estate. So, una, okay, under sections 85 and 104, if the decedent is a married decedent, problemado pag may asawa, no? So, yung magiging table natin ng pagdetermine ng gross estate, ayan. So, yung parang pro forma natin ng type or of a married decedent, you have to identify, di ba una, identify natin yung property, then yung value ng property, and then after, yung kanino, sino may ownership doon. If it is exclusive, on the part of the decedent, when we say exclusive patay ay lalaki yung husband, we call it capital, or the exclusive property of the husband. If the decedent is yung babae or yung wife, offer na. Terminology natin dyan. So, depende ako sa yung decedent, no? Kung exclusive property of husband, capital. Exclusive property of married. And then, after that, kung na-identify mo naman that the property is conjugal or common, i-include mo ba hahatiin kung, although we know that yung from the common or conjugal, 50-50, di ba? But for the determination ng gross estate, amount of the common or conjugal property. Then you arrive at the total. Okay? So, yan yun. So, yun dito sinasabing exemptions is surviving spouse. Okay? Halimbawa, ang namatay is yung lalaki. So, yung paraphernalia, that will be the share of that subject. Property of the husband, hindi siya kasali sa computation ng gross estate. So, ito siya sabi dito, exclusive property of the survivor. Pero kung we are talking about the gross estate of the decedent, ito yung pro forma niya. Exclusive property, conjugal or common property, then the total natin determine yung kalahati portion. Kasi sa gross estate may common or may conjugal property. Sa deductions from the gross estate, meron din common. Okay, kaya hindi tayo pwede mag-shortcut or mag-offset. No? Itataman natin kung kanino yung exclusive, kung exclusive siya or common. So, hindi basta-basta din yung pag-determine kung common or conjugal. Depende sa kung kailan, o kung by default, kung kailan kasawa. If before August 1988, kinasal, so under siya ng common property of gains. At August 1988, Akop yun, absolute, absolute, akop yun, absolute common. Nasa, ano ko, nasa, ayan. Dadating naman tayo, nakalimutan ko lang yung pinaka-term. So, ito yung pinaka-una, before 1988, no, August. That, ito na siya. Meron naman tayong, next week ito yung topic natin. So, usually, no, kung siguro, sa mga panganay dito, yung nanay. So, ibig sabihin, most of the properties, pag inasal na, nagiging common. So, absolute, kasi absolute, kasi mas may mas paano ako dun sa, sa abbreviation. Kung, tingnan na nga natin, nakalimutan ko ng sipog akop eh. Wait lang ha. Before 1988, property relations. Doon pa naman siya sa topic ng property relations. Ayun. Absolute community of property. Ayan. May halo ng lo, no? Yung isa namang sipog, conjugal. Ito naman, conjugal property of gains. Ayan. August 8 or August 1, 1988. August 3, mali pala ako. So, 8/03, no, 1988. So, before the marriage ng August 3, 1988, so, by default, kung walang prenuptial agreement, eto siya, sipog. So, ibig sabihin nito, dito kasi sa portion na to ng sipog, mostly, no, kung ano yung exclusive property ng husband or wife, bago sila ikasal, magiging exclusive property pa rin. Pero meron tayong mga items dyan, no? Sabihin, yung dinala nila nung kinasal sila, kung yun na exclusive property, for example, namana nila or naipon nila yon before sila mag-asawa, pagdating under sipog, exclusive property pa rin. Unlike sa akop, yung exclusive nila, nung dalagang pinata sila, nung kinasal sila, magiging common properties. Okay? Kung ito yung magiging under nila. Pero meron, may detailed topic tayo dyan. So, ini-introduce ko lang na medyo madaming dito, pasikot-sikot dito ng sipog and akop. So, yun yung ito. So, pag marriage ng dissident, una, determine mo muna kung under ng sipog or akop. So, para alam mo kung saan mo ipa-plot yung property. Diba, alam mo naman yung value ng property. Nakuha natin yung fair market value. Ang tanong, saan natin ilalagay? Exclusive or conjugal? Nakadepende kung anong property relation under si dissident. Okay? No? Kung ano naman, konti lang naman yung mga diferensya. Usually, ito, yung mga properties before the marriage, magiging exclusive pa rin, except for the fruits or yung income. Okay? So, yun yung mga natin. Topic, no? Dami pa, no? So, yun. Ito yung proforma ng gross estate ng married dissident. So, dito pa lang naman tayo sa exclusion. So, ito yun. Yung exclusive property of the surviving spouse. Okay? Yun yung tawag dito, not part or not subject to gross estate. Sa estate tax. Pero kung na-determine natin siya common, ilalapag muna natin siya dito. Tapos tsaka natin dito babawasan kung merong common deductions. And then tsaka pa natin siya hahatiin sa dalawa. Okay, divided by 2. Yung parang net common, net estate, yung common properties, no? Divided by 2. So yung kalahati, subject to estate, yung kalahati, yung sinasabing share of the surviving spouse. Aside from the exclusive property of the surviving spouse. Okay? So, medyo, kaya inuna ko na muna yung valuation. Madali na yan, di ba? Fair market value. Then, alignment, kung saan siya tatapat, exclusive or common. Swerte ko lagi yung topic, kung anong laging example ay single. Kung single dissident, wala na to. So, lahat ng properties ng kanya, dire-diretso na yun. Wala tayong hating 50-50 kung single ang dissident. Okay? Meron pa nga dito, no, ng mga provisions dito sa AKOP, kung yung dissident ay merong dependent from previous marriage. May iba pang ano yan, rules. Okay? So, kakalkalin muna yung buhay ng dissident kung merong anak sa unang asawa bago mag-compute na estate tax. Okay? So, yun lang naman. So, pag mga family, sa family code din. So, itong mga to, pag tinignan nyo yung family code, binabanggit din ito. Okay? So, syempre, ang tinatapit lang naman natin dito is computation. Okay? Yan. So, another one, no? Na exempted, no? Na hindi subject sa estate tax. Although na-transfer siya. Okay? From one person to another. For example, the merger of usufruct in the owner of the naked title. Ano ang kwento dyan? So, si A, siya yung unang namatay. Okay? Doon sa kanyang will, okay? Meron siyang pinamana. Okay? It's like lupa. About 10 hectares, no? Sabi ni A, o B, ikaw ang magmamayari ng mga income or usufruct ng property. Pero yung title ng property ay nakapangalan kay C. Okay. So, ano ang magiging exempted dito? Namatay na si B. Okay? Ngayon, si B, automatic, yung income or yung usufruct ng property owned by C, matatransfer na kay C. So, pag-merge yung principal tsaka yung fruits or yung usufruct. So, yung pag-transfer ng fruits from B to C, yun ang exempted from transfer taxes. Okay? So, yung transfer between B and C, yun, kala ko whiteboard. So, ito yung excess. Yun yung merger of usufruct. Kasi automatic, dahil siya yung owner ng income, siya yung owner ng property. By default, namatay si B, so na-transfer na rin yung income kay C. So that transfer is exempt from estate tax. So I don't need to include that in the gross estate. So yun yung isa sa mga transfers na non-taxable. Yan. Fiduciary here. So the transmission or delivery of the inheritance by the fiduciary. Hirap lang ng mga terminology dito pagdating sa transfer tax, no? So, almost the same with number 1. Ang ano lang naman ay, dalawa yung namatay. Una ko na si A. Remember, yung transfer si A to dito, nataksan na yan. Ito, from here to, nataksan na yan. So, ano ang kwento naman dito? Namatay si A, pinamanahan ng property si C. Siya yung, kaya lang si C ay minor. Okay, so inassign niya si B, fiduciary here. So, at the time of death of B, nailipat yung property doon sa totoong owner. Kasi, ang pinamanahan naman talaga ay si C. Pero dahil siya ay minor, okay, hindi, si B ang in-appoint ni A na nag-manage the property. So, at the time of death of B, na-transfer to kay C. So, yung pag-transfer ni B to C, another, exempt from transfer taxes. Okay? Pero, hindi kalimutan, kung yung A, yung namatay si A, yung transfer kay C, may transfer taxes. No? Kasi sabi lang dito, between B and C ulit. Si B, in-appoint ni A as fiduciary here. Tapos si C ang fiduciary. So, ang namatay, si B. Supposedly may transfer, di ba? Yung property na si B ang nagmamanage, by default, na-transfer kay C. Kasi siya naman yung owner. Ano lang to, siya lang yung point kasi si C ay minor pala. Okay, in that case, from B to C is exempt. Do not include in the computation of gross estate. Kasi the fact that the property, ang owner talaga ay si C. Daming namamatay, no? So, wala akong makuha ang property. Okay, almost the same with ano naman. Ito, hindi naman to, walang minor dito, no? Example naman, merong special power of appointment, no? Let's say, a partial of rent ulit, no? Si A, nung namatay si A, sinabi niya, oh, yung property, pamamano ko kay B. Pero B, dapat, ipamamano mo lang siya kay C. Hindi ko kaninong tao. O kung hindi ko kaninong anak. Halimbawa, ito yung anak, yung ako. Siya yung paboritong ako, di ba? Sabi nung lolo, o B, yung lupa, sa'yo na. Pero pag namatay ka, or ano, ika-transfer siya kay C. That is under the special power of appointment. So, namatay nga si B. Okay? So, walang choice kundi yung property mapunta kay C. Because it is, the transfer is under the special power of appointment. So, the transfer of property from B to C is also exempt from transfer taxes. If it is under special power of appointment. Okay? Meron tayo mamaya general power of appointment. No? So, if under special power of appointment, no? Doon sa appointment, sinasabi, B, bawal mong ilipat siya kung kanino. Kay sila. Okay? So, yun yung nasa letter or nasa contract, nasa kasulatan. No? Yung B, dapat ang nagpagma na lang ay CC, specific. And the special power of appointment. So, the transfer from B to C is also exempt from transfer taxes. So mga nakikita ko ng mga examples na wala. Kumbaga, diniscuss talaga siya dyan. Pero when it comes to problem, hindi naman siya masyadong, wala ko masyadong nakikitang yung may, numerical problem, no? Always theory lang. Ako dito. Yan. Okay. So, another one. So, the donation or the transfer of properties to charitable institutions or social welfare, no, are exempt from transfer taxes. As long as, ano yung rule? Not more than 30% of the said donations or transfers shall be used by institutions for administration purposes. So, dapat, hindi lalampas sa 30% ng value ng property, okay, ginagamit sa admin purposes. So, dapat, most of the time, sa direct or general purpose, no, social welfare or charitable institutions. Okay. So, ito naman. So, madalas, ito yung common naman, no? Kapag may namamatay, merong mga benefits, retirement benefits from GSIS, SSS. So, yung mga nakukuhang compensation from the said agencies are not subject to transfer tax. Siyempre, sino ba magiging beneficiaries niya? Siyempre, yung mga naiwan na anak or asawa. Okay? So, yun, hindi nakakaltasan na. Hindi nababawasan or isa-subject pa sa tax. Yung mga benefits, pwedeng mga burial assistance ng SSS, di ba? Yung pension, okay? So, pwedeng lump sum siya, di ba? Merong mga ganun na mga benefits sa SSS at DSIS. So, exempt from transfer taxes. So, direct na yun na makukuha ng buo ng mga beneficiaries. Hindi na siya isa-subject sa estate tax. Salamat naman. No? Maliit na nga lang yung benefits ng SSS, no? Babawasan pa. Yeah. Income tax naman, di ba? Any benefits received from those agencies. Like for example, during maternity benefits or sickness benefits, hindi rin naman siya masasubject sa income tax. As well as yung mga retirement benefits received by the heirs are not subject to estate tax. Okay. So another one, itong mga proceeds from life insurance from the other agencies. Okay? And then the latest one, during COVID-19, so, ewan ko kung namimigay, kung may nakakuha na nito, no? So, compensation to private and public health workers who have contracted COVID-19. So, yung mga may kamag-anak na health workers na namatay during COVID, because of COVID-19, di ba? Meron silang bibigay na compensations or benefits. So, these are not subject to estate tax. I'm not sure kung meron nang may nakakuha. Ayan. Ayan. So, balik tayo. So, nandun yung exclusion. So, ito, sino naman yung isasama natin, okay? Pati yung sasabi ko sa inyo, di ba? Property at the time of death of decedent that are physically and actually present during or at the time of his death. So, alam natin, nakikita natin, itong sasakyan na to, nung siya ang may-ari. So, nasa yung possession ng sasakyan? Nasa kanya. Okay? Yung bahay, nakatayo dyan, dyan nakatira yung namatay, that is their family home. So, that is part of the property owned by the decedent. Actually and physically present during his time or at the time of the death. So, yun, mas madali kasi i-account yun, di ba? Or, pwede naman, hindi natin alam, wala sa possession ni decedent, pero siyang may-ari ng property. Ano gagawin, ma'am? Isasama sa gross estate. Hindi talaga na-save yung in-edit ko kagabi. Ayan. So, hindi ko maalala itong note natin. Property not physically in the estate but are subject to payment of tax. Number 1. Transfers in contemplation of death. Okay. May impact to dati, no? Lalo na nung hindi pa 6% ang tax rate. Okay? Bakit? To avoid ginagawa kasi ito minsan ng mga tao, no? Mga mayaman for tax minimization. Because before the trade law, the tax rate ng estate tsaka ng donor's tax, mas maliit, no? Mas maliit yung rate ng donor's tax. Lalo na kung magdo-donate ka sa mga kamag-anak. Merong determination ng kung sino yung donee, yung relationship ng donor at donee, kung kamag-anak or stranger. Iba pa yung tax rate noon before. And then, sabi ko nga, yung sa estate, progressive. Diba? So, ano ginagawa noon? Ng mga iba? Kasi nga, dahil mas maliit yung tax rate ng donor's tax, tinatransfer na yung property sa mga relatives. Just to lessen the tax. Kasi nga, mas maliit yung tax rate ng donor's tax compared to estate tax before. Tsaka ano pa yung reason? During that transfer, yung transferor kasi, iba na yung pag-iisip. For example, bedridden na yung transferor. So, sa kanya kasi, ang purpose niya, bago siya mamatay, di ba, may distribute na o may transfer na yung property. So, for tax purposes, yung reason na yon is, transfer in contemplation of death. So, yung thinking niya kasi, mamamatay na yung transferor. So, dapat hindi sa subject sa donor's tax, but subject to estate tax. Okay? Kasi yung ginagawa ng iba, ay donor's tax to kasi mas maliit ang tax rate compared sa estate tax. Ayun. So, hindi ko nga sinama yung nature, kanina dun sa theories, no? Ibang books kasi, meron dun na minimization theories, no? Since donor's tax and estate tax have the same tax rate, so I think hindi na siya applicable kasi whether it's a donor's tax or sa estate tax, it's still, both of them are subject to 6%. Okay, so yun nga. Yung thinking kasi ng transfer, mamamatay na siya. So in contemplation of death, so instead of subject to donor's tax, hindi, lipat natin siya, magiging, sa inyo pa yan no? So isa-subject natin siya sa estate tax. Revocable transfer. Pati yung madalas na example, no? Revocable transfer. Sabi, kailan kayo graduate? Hindi rin alam, ayun. Pagpalagay na March 2025. Gagraduate kayo. Okay? May nangako sa inyo. Okay? Na pag-graduate nyo, itatransfer sa inyo yung kotse. Okay? Okay? Pag-graduate mo sa inyo yung kotse. Okay? Kaya lang, hindi pa sinasabit yung graduation. Let's say January 2025, namatay yung nangako sa inyo. Okay? Diba si A? Nangako kay B. O B, pag-graduate ka sa March 2025, sa iyo yung kotse. Okay, the value of the car, let's say 1 million. Okay, kaya lang, dumating, hindi pa natatapos to, hindi pa na-fulfill yung condition, no, namatay na yung CA. So, ang tanong, yung car ba na worth 1 million ay masasubject sa gross estate ni A or masasubject sa donor's tax? Yun ako natanong eh, gross estate or donors? Or wala na ma'am, kasi si Pinoy yung may-ari. Ang nangyayari dyan, yun yung tawag na revocable transfer. Okay, by default, or whether kung hindi nakalagay, no, yung condition na irrevocable. No? So, revocable yung transfer. So, hindi niya na-waive kasi, no? Kung na-waive niya yung condition, no, hindi na dapat yun na property. Okay? Subject to donor's tax, no? Kung hindi nangyari yun, kumbaga yung verbal lang yung usapan, tapos hindi pa rin naman na-fulfill. No? Hindi pa dumating March 25. So therefore, yung 1 million na car, okay? Although kahit pa sabihin ginagamit ng DP, yung sasakyan, no? Wala na sa possession ni A. Pero hindi pa may-ari si B. Kasi pinagamit pa, let's say, no? Kung baga, after March 25, kung nakagraduate ka, hindi yung title malilipat sa'yo. Eh kasi hindi nga umabot ng March 25, namatay na si A. So therefore, yung value, let's say 1 million yung value niya noong January, that 1 million, kahit wala sa possession ni A, mapapasama sa gross estate ni A. We call it revocable transfer. So therefore, i-account mo pa rin siya, di ba? O itong sasakyan na to, nasa pangalan pa ni A. Although si B lang ang nagamit. Okay, so isasama pa rin natin siya sa gross estate ni A. Okay? Ito naman kanina, power of appointment. Yung kanina sample natin. Balikan natin. Yung kanina, special power of appointment. Ngayon, let's say that example is general power of appointment. So which means, si B, pwede niyang ipamigay or i-donate or ibigay, hindi lang kay C, pwede sa other relatives. No? Yun yung condition ni A. No? Hindi lang kay C, pwede sa ibang mga relatives or ibang anak. So, which means, nung namatay si B, tinransfer niya either kay C or kay D or E under the general power of appointment. That transfer will become taxable. Okay, yung magkakaiba. Okay, kasi sa special, specific, si A yan nagka-assign, specifically, easy lang siya. Pag under general power of appointment, sabi ni A, B, bahala ka na kung kanina mo gusto, ibigay. So that is under general power of appointment, so therefore, subject to transfer taxes. So, magiging part ng gross estate ni B. Okay? Option nyo mo. Determine pala natin kung kanino yung property. Yan. Ayan. So, kanina, yung types of transfer, we have 3 types, di ba? Onerous, gratuitous, then the third one is the complex. Wherein there's an insufficient consideration. So, may difference between the selling price, the fair market value at the time of sale, and the fair market value at the time of death of the decedent or the seller. Okay? So, merong, hindi naman siya automatic na kung may diferensya ng fair market value between the fair market value and the selling price, automatic subject na yun sa transfer taxes. So, titignan natin yung amount, no? Yung consideration. So, let's say, for example, at the time of sale, yung fair market value niya is also equivalent doon sa at the time of transfer. Pares lang, nung parang, hindi siya, babagsak siya na, onerous transfer. So, yung lupa, let's say, the fair market value of land at the time of sale is 1 million. And then, the consideration is also 1 million. So, there's a bona fide sale. So, hindi siya subject sa estate tax. Although, for example, kinabukasan namatay na yung ano, di ba? Yung nagbenta. Okay? It is a bona fide sale. It's a regular sale. Okay? So, pangalawa naman. Ano ba to? Sale was made in the consideration. Less than. Consideration is less than the fair market value at the time of transfer. Okay? So, nung nagbenta siya, let's say the property, the fair market value is 1 million, the consideration is only 800,000. So, which merong insufficient consideration. So, therefore, the excess, only the excess, no? The excess, which is let's say 200,000. So, yun yung included lang sa part ng gross estate ni dissident. Okay? So, tatlo kasi yung ititingnan mo, no? Na value. Okay? Then, the other one is the sale was made in the meron tayong example ng computation. Sale was made in the ordinary course of business, so bona fide sales. So, it's just a matter of, for the income tax purposes lang yun, no, yung pangatlo. So, no consideration received, either donation mortis causa or donation inter vivo. So, titignan mo doon yung motive, no, nung transfer. If it was made during the lifetime of the transferor at okay naman, wala namang in contemplation of death, no, yung transfer. So, that is pwedeng subject sa donation in, when we say donation inter vivo, subject siya sa donor's tax. Donation mortis causa sa estate tax. Okay? Pwedeng yun ang gamitin natin sa problem. Donation mortis causa, subject, ayun, yung succession yun. Donation inter vivos, donation. Sample. Ayan. So, for example, at the time of death, at the time of transfer, yung fair market value ng property ay 5 million. The fair market value at the time of death is 6 million. The consideration received is 6 million, also 5 million. What will be the amount to be included in the gross estate? Magkano dapat? Meron ba? Hindi pala pwede magsulat dito. Pwede magsulat dito. Magkano? Magkano yung dapat na i-include in the gross estate? Meron bang insufficient consideration at the time of transfer? Meron daw wala? Bona fide sale ba yun o hindi? So, tingnan mo, at the time of transfer, the fair market value is 5 million. Tapos, magkano yung na-receive niya? Oh, meron bang insufficient consideration? Wala. So, therefore, wala tayong i-include sa gross estate. Kaya mamaya, ay hindi pa naman ako. So, next. At the time of transfer, the fair market value of the property is 5 million. At the time of death, 6 million. The amount of consideration received is 6 million. Meron ba tayong dapat na i-include sa gross estate? Meron bang insufficient consideration? Wala din. So, di ba, you will compare the 5 million saka 6 million. O, sobra pa nga siya, di ba? Okay. O, pangatlo, at the time of transfer, the fair market value is 5 million. At the time of death, 6 million. But the consideration received during the transfer is only 2 million. Is there an insufficient consideration? Magkano? Taas ang sabi ng 3 million. Yung iba, wala ma'am, sakto lang. Merong insufficient consideration, of course, meron. Hindi naman pwede sa exam, meron lang ang sagot nyo. Tatanungin ko siya, follow-up question, magkano? 4 million.
Oo, tama naman.
Yung time of that yung pinagbasin ko dun sa first one, ang pinagbasin ko time of
During the time of transfer, meron na bang insufficient? Wala. So, clear na siya doon. Hindi siya lugay nung time of transfer eh. Oo. Ngayon, kung during the transfer, meron ng insufficient consideration, i-compare mo ulit naman yung fair market value at the time of transfer tsaka at the time of death. Kung bumaba yung fair market value at the time of death, so wala tayong i-consider. Ngayon, at the time of death, mas malaki pa rin, no? Yung fair market value, yun yung kukunin nating fair market value. Pero, ang ilalagay lang natin sa gross estate is 4 million, not the 6 million. Okay? Part of the gross estate is 4 million, not the 6 million. Susunod marami pa tayo activity na ganyan. Tatlo lang yung nilagay ko kasi lalagay ko sa assignment nyo eh. Okay. Ang hirap paglagay dito na ano. Okay, next. 0, ay, ba yan? Ito pa yung sagot, nilagay tanggal-tanggal, sinulat ko pa. Hindi ko maalala kung merong ano eh. Ayan, claims against insolvent persons. Sino yung ano dito? Sino si decedent? Debtor or creditor? Claims against insolvent persons. So, in this, di ko dalawa lang kayo niya pag may utang, creditor at debtor. Sino si decedent dito? Creditor or debtor? Tama yun. Sige, ulitin nyo. Hindi, meron. Kasi sa deductions, meron pa rin tayo makukuha na. Ano ba tayo may compare na ganyan eh? Final answer? Final answer. Okay. So in this case, si decedent, siya yung may pautang. Siya yung creditor, kaso yung utang sa kanya ay insolvent na. So which means, pwede nyo tayo makakolekta sa kanya, di ba? Yung pinalimutan na after ng utang, no? Tuyo na. Okay? Ano si A namatay? Okay? Si D yung creditor, debtor. Okay? So let's say, 500,000 yung utang ni D kay A. Okay? Pinamatay na ni A, no? Kasi ang kulit eh. Naliniyo kay D, inatake na si A, kakasingil kay D. Insolvent na si C. Si D ay insolvent. Okay? So let's say, si D, ang asset niya ay 100,000. Yung kanyang, ano sunod doon? Asset, liability. Pag insolvent, mas malaki di ba yung liability? Yes. Ang galing niya talaga. Let's say 400 na yung kanyang layab, no? Ayan. Hindi, mas malaki yung layab nga pala niya. Let's say 600. Ayan. So, namatay si A. Ang pautang niya kay D is 500, no? Which means, out of the 600 na utang ni D, 500 doon belongs to A. Okay? So, ngayon, syempre, 100 nila yung asset niya ito, pero tapos ang pautang niya 500,000. So, ano ang rule dito? Sa gross estate ni A, the amount to be included is still 500,000. Walang offsetting na mangyayari, no? So, whether makolekta niya ng buo or hindi, the whole amount, di ba, receivables kasi ito eh. So, asset ni A. So, part ng gross estate ni A, so the whole amount, 500,000, should be included in the gross estate. Okay? So, ngayon pa lang, paano ma'am? Wala na akong makukuha dyan eh, no? So, dito papasok, introduce ko na yung deductions. So, kung 100 na lang yung
pera ni A, magkano na lang yung portion na mapupunta kay,
DD, 100 over 600 times 500. Pakicompute nyo.
yun lang. Kasi yung ba't di mo sinakto mo? 833, no?
So, ibig sabihin, 8. Yan.
Hindi mo sinakto mo, no?
So, ibig sabihin, ang makukolekta lang ni A kay D ay
83,300. Okay.
so, magkano magiging deductions? Eh, di yung portion na hindi na niya makukulit, which is 41,667 ba?
Tama ba?
Yan. So, ito yung marireceive na lang from the insolvent person, ito yung magiging uncollectible. So, ang rule, idagdag mo muna yung buong amount na collect na receivables, and then, ibabawas mo na lang yung uncollectibles. So, therefore, ito na lang talaga, in effect, ito na lang yung kanyang net estate. Okay? Pero ang rule kasi, ipasok mo, isama mo na ng buo, and then, ibawas mo na yung magiging uncollectible. Common errors ng mga estudyante. After na-compute ito, instead na ito yung higay na deductions, ito ang nailalagay na deductions. Common mistakes ng mga estudyante. Okay? Huwag malito ha. Ito kasi magiging collectible, di ba? Ito na yung uncollectible. So which means, ito na yung allowed deductions from the gross estate. Okay? Babalik ako sa rule, hindi mo pwedeng ilagay na direct na yung 83,000 as part ng gross estate. Dapat yung buong 500,000. Although in effect, di ba, pares lang din naman yan mga 8333. Wala namang problema. Kaso, paano, ang tanong ko kasi is gross estate. So, hindi mo pwedeng nakanet yan. No? Paano ang tanong ko ay total deductions from the gross estate? So, you need to compute. Okay? So, sa ganyan scenario, sa isang problem, possible questions, how much will be the gross estate? How much is the total allowable deductions from the gross estate? The net estate. Okay? So, isang problem, 3 to 4 or 3 to 5 questions na pwede natin ma-produce. Okay? Ulitin ko. Huwag magbabaliktad. Yun kasi ng kalimitang mali. Isang deductions, isang type of deductions para to introduce natin, ha? Sa susunod, marami pa yan. Kaya ako, in my experience, ilang taon na ako nagpa-public practice, totoo lang, wala pa akong nagagawa or natatapos na, isa pa lang natapos kong estate tax. Kasi bihira talaga ako magkaroon ng kliyente dyan eh. Hindi mo naman i-wish na magkaroon ng mamatay araw-araw para may kliyente, di ba? So, ayun. Kasi, kakailanganin ng certification ng CPA sa sa mga ng gross ng estate tax din eh, no? Kaso wala talagang nakakuha ng service namin eh. Okay? So, wala nga kasi masyado namamatay na kliyente namin. So, miscellaneous items also, proceeds of life insurance. Okay? So, ngayon, di ba pag namatay, sino yung mga beneficiaries ng insurance, ng benefits, okay? So, the decedent, pwede siyang mag-assign kung kanino niya, kung sino magiging beneficiaries ng proceeds of life insurance, okay? So, ngayon, ang question na lang, at titingnan natin kung i-include natin siya or hindi sa gross estate. Una, sino ang designated beneficiaries? Pwedeng ang designated beneficiaries na yung estate mismo. Kumbaga, yung proceeds of life insurance mapapasama sa part ng kanyang estate. Estate, administrator or executor. So, ibig sabihin, sino yung mamamahala ng kanyang estate pag namatay siya? That is the administrator or executor or the third party. Pwede yung wife or yung legitimate heirs. Okay? So, yun yung titingnan mo kung sino yung madedesignate na beneficiaries. Pangalawa, ano yung condition? Ano yung transfer niya? Revocable or irrevocable? Okay? To summarize that, ayan siya. So, if the proceeds of life insurance, ang magiging beneficiary, mali pa spelling na beneficiary ni ma'am, yung tatlo, estate, executor, administrator. So, when we say estate, yung mismo properties na isama mo yung proceeds of life insurance ko, pagkakasama sa lahat ng estate ko. No? So, revocable or irrevocable, right? Yung executor, administrator. Okay, so included. For example, I think si President, si BBM, siya saka si Imelda Marcos, sila yung executor or administrator, no? Estate ni Marcos. Okay? So, any process of life insurance, whether revocable or irrevocable. Ma'am, kapag sa problem, hindi naka-state kung revocable or irrevocable. If hindi naka-state sa problem kung revocable or irrevocable, by default, it is revocable. Okay? If silent ang problem, the designation is revocable. Okay? So, regardless na lang kung revocable or irrevocable, tapos ang beneficiaries is yung tatlo, then inclusive pa rin siya sa gross estate. Okay? Kung ang beneficiary ay wife or son, for example, tapos the designation is revocable, so ibig sabihin ng revocable, pwede pabawin, di ba? Anytime yung designation. So, should be included. Kanina included sa gross estate no? Nakatay. So, kung ang beneficiary is yung wife, and then, clearly stated, doon sa problem that it is irrevocable, yung designation, then that's the time it will not be part of the gross estate of the recipient. So in short, halos lahat ay included, except if the beneficiary is third party and the designation is irrevocable. Yun lang yung pinakapagpipilian mo. Pinahaba-haba mo pa kami, yun naman pala kailangan tandaan, no? So which means lahat included, except third party, tapos irrevocable. Tarik ko yun. Hindi. Other than the three. Kasi, sa circle lang, okay?
Sensitive lang po sila.
Ayan. Other than those three na estate, executor, check administrator, yun yung other parties. Okay? Ayan, example. Meron na tayong amount. So, the decedent took an insurance on his life for 10 million. What amount should be included in the gross estate? Kano? So, by default, ito ay designated revocable, tapos wala naman binanggit, edi either dun sa tatlo, no? Usually sa estate. O yung pangalawa, 20 million, insurance, life insurance, designated his estate as the revocable beneficiary. 20 million din.
May mga may question lang po, medyo natatama. Para po malalaman if revocable or irrevocable kapag walang experts dito.
Pag dito, hindi siya stated, no? Directly hindi siya stated, automatic or by default, it is revocable. Magiging irrevocable lang siya, dapat clearly nakalagay doon, irrevocable. Pag wala nakalagay, revocable. O kagaya ng pangatlo, the decedent took an insurance for his life. Ano kay Camille? 5 million and irrevocably designated the administrator of his estate as the beneficiary.
Meron ba inclusion in the gross asset o wala? Magkano? Meron ba?
Hindi naman third party.
Ulit yung third party. Okay, so yung pang-apat, the dissident took an insurance on his life for 10 million and designated his son as beneficiary. Sino ang beneficiary? Una,
Third party yan.
sino ang binasignate? Ano siya? Executor, administrator, estate, or third party?
Third party.
Ano ang designation? Revocable or revocable?
Revocable.
Included, excluded?
Included.
How much?
10 million.
O, diba? Pwede na tayo mag-quiz? Biglang ano eh. O, yung pang-lima.
Ayan ang excluded.
Masasabi na, di ba? Pag silent, revocable. Okay, so number 5. Sino ang designated ano? Third parties. Designation. Revocable, irrevocable.
Revocable.
Included, excluded.
Excluded.
So therefore, the amount is 0. Yun na naman kayo, madali na, tapos pati na exam eh. Okay? Kasi pag irrevocable, meaning, hindi na niya mababawi yun. So therefore, yung third party, kapag pag lumabas yung proceed, property na no? Designated na third party. Okay. Si executor and administrator lang naman kasi, siya yung magmamanage. So pwede, o ikaw, executor, ano, paggastos mo yan sa pag-manage ng estate before ma-distribute. Kasi medyo long yung process no, ng estate. No? Hindi siya natatapos sa provided estate na hanggang sa ma-distribute yung properties sa mga designated days. Yun yung trabaho ng executor at administrator. Ayun. So, kaya yung proceeds, kung nakuha na yun ng wife or ng son, irrevocable, property na yung beneficiary. Okay? Ako ha, pwede tayo mag-quiz, charot. Okay? Basta ganito lang, ma'am, no? Hindi, last slide. Huwag ka mag-alala. Last slide na yun. Kayo naman. Oo. Wala na, wala na. Hindi, wala namang pinlog out pa ngayon. Wala pa kaming system. Nasaan yung cellphone ko? Sa register. Oh, mag-enroll na yun, dapat mag-enroll. Para pag-post na ng activity, kasama na kayo dun sa ano. Ano tawag dun sa ano natin?
Ginawa nila kung ano, bola, pinag-usapan ko na.
Oh.
Sabi na register 2,000. Register sabi na
Ayan, no, as of now, wala pa rin. 29 pa rin tayo. Kayo pala. Ayan. Tingnan nyo na lang kung nandito yung pangalan nyo, ha? O, ayan. Wala na. So, sila pa lang. 29 pa lang. Pag ito mga to, si registrar ba yung nag-encode niyan? Ayan. Kasi baka this week or by Friday, ilalabas ko na activity. O sige, kung wala pa, sino pa yung wala pa sa listahan? I mean, kasi yung attendance ko. May Marcos pala tayo dito eh.
Kaya ako parang tuwing binabagin.
Ay, bumalik na attendance? Nakuha na ba attendance?
Yung attendance
Miss EJ ko lang sa iyo.
Kasi 29 lang yung nandun sa group. Para alam mo kung sino yung sabagay. Sige, hindi ko muna i-close up at hindi ko pa, wala pa tayo official list.
Ang parang officially since September.
September 10, no? Di ba tapos 9? Ayun, baka nga. Apo. Yun nga lang yung concern kasi yung iba wala pa doon. Ilang beses na-extend yung enrollment? Bakit mababa ba enrollment na yun? Tapos 1 week na lang prelim na. Di ba yung last enrollment September 9? Third week yon, di ba? Fourth, 1 week, tapos complete prelim. Sa bagay, bakit meron ba kayong mga classmates before na talagang wala pa dito?
Yes po, ma'am. May isa pa po.
Eh, nawatin na.
Alam mo na